Welcome to another episode of the Misfit Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, Matt the Misfit. Tonight we're going to go through AEW Dynamite Grand Slam Night 1. We have a lot of things to talk about. New champions have been crowned. 3 new champions have been crowned. An AEW surprising debut. We are going to go over what's happening on Rampage because I have some news there that is going to maybe shock you guys based on the stuff that I saw. We are going to go on that news and stuff. The latest on everything AEW is probably going to be on this episode of AEW Dynamite review for September the 20th, 2022. 1 year ago, we had an instant classic between Bryan Danielson and Kenny Omega that went to a 30-minute time limit draw. 1 year later, Bryan Danielson looks to become the AEW World Champion. We had a fatal 4-way match for the AEW Women's World Title. Toni Storm defending the title there. The Acclaimed looked to capture the AEW Tag Team titles. The All-Atlantic titles defended. The Ring of Honor World titles defended for the first time in a long time, but for the first time on this Grand Slam thing. All that and much, much more. And we're going to get into it. If you like what you see here or listen to what you see here, please go subscribe, hit the bell notification and the like button. I want to thank you guys for some of the stuff that I've seen so far on the channel. The Raw review from this past Monday night is now up to 269 views. I thank you very much on that one. And then a few weeks ago from the September 5th episode of Monday Night Raw. That is over 1,225 views. I would like to thank you for that. Please keep, supporting the channel and whatnot. I would like to build up the subscribers on this show. Hopefully get some sponsors, maybe Blue Chew, I don't know, something like that. Who knows what's going to happen? But that's what I got to say about that. I just want to thank you guys for all the support on that stuff. Please keep watching the podcast or listening to the podcast. You really won't be seeing much of me on the camera. I just think me doing audio content is better because then I can edit stuff without having to worry about video misplacement and whatnot. Anyway, we got AEW Dynamite, and some news on Dynamite or non-Dynamite in general. We have AEW news about AEW Revolution. We're going to talk about that first before we're going to talk about some of the AEW stuff that I guess news before we get into the actual review of the show, because I want to bring that in here. So I'm going to bring up Fight for Select. Go subscribe to Fight for Select. It's only $5 a month. You get great content over there from Sean Ross Sapp and the crew. So earlier today we had a talent meeting before a Grand Slam. No other details of who came out with it, but they seem positive about what they about this meeting. They use the term addition to by subtraction, which didn't specify what that meant. I'm assuming that's what it meant earlier on tonight. Though the Bucks and CM Punk and Kenny Omega are still suspended. Some names have been unsuspended. Michael Nakazawa. I think Brandon Cutler's been unsuspended. And I know Christopher Daniels has been unsuspended because they were at the Tokyo game show thing where they were talking about AEW Fight Forever. Some new screenshots from that. Stuff going on there. I'm looking forward for that game coming out. And we have some news on Paige, and I'm going to bring up Paige in a little bit when we get to that point. AEW Revolution plans. The current plan is to hold the 2023 Revolution pay-per-view event in the Cow Palace or Shea Center in San Francisco. That's one of the two places. Cow Palace, of course, The last place to go, the last wrestling show to be there was New Japan Pro Wrestling's G1 special, which was main evented by Kenny Omega and Cody Rhodes for the IWGP Championship. Also, I have also the news on the Cow Palace, well, sort of the Cow Palace here. At Super Brawl, I believe there's I believe Super Bowl 7, 8, and 2000 was in the Cow Palace, and I believe No Way Out 2004 was in the Cow Palace, where Eddie Guerrero won the WWE Championship with Brock Lesnar. So the Cow Palace has a lot of history in pro wrestling, and I wouldn't be upset about the Cow Palace getting Revolution. Revolution doesn't have a date right now, but it is usually February, March when that event takes place. I would love to see AEW do Arthur Ashe. They were in Arthur Ashe tonight in Queens, New York, which is the home of the U.S. Open for the Arthur Ashe. A lot of other stuff there. I won't go into much about the whole stuff with the suspensions and all that stuff. You guys know all about that. I am not going to go into that much. But here we go. We're going to go through the show. The show was pretty good. I'm going to go through the because I put up a poll earlier, and I don't know where the poll's at voting wise. So I'm going to look that up here. So right now, so I put out the poll. Did you enjoy AEW Grand Slam? Right now it's 75% yes, 25% no. So it seems like for the most part, people enjoyed that show. And we're gonna kick things off. We're gonna open the show. Oh, well, they opened the show with the Ring of Honor World Championship match. Claudio Castagnoli defended against Chris Jericho. This match was pretty good. I mean, it was a pretty fun match. I didn't like the outcome of it, and I'll have to explain why in a little bit. But there was a spot in this match, and it was like they keep hitting each other with uppercuts and the and the chops that Jericho's known for. And there was a spot in this match that I really, really, really enjoyed. So Claudio was going for his what was he going for? I'm trying to remember what it was now. Well, okay, so Claudio was trying to go for a top rope power bomb, right? And while he was going for it, Jericho countered it into a Hurricane Rana off the top rope, which looks phenomenal. There was a great counter from the very European uppercut, as he calls it, where he springboard off the second rope and into a spinning uppercut. Was countered into the code breaker for a 2 count. Jericho then went and got the baseball bat, Floyd, as he called it. Referee sees it, grabs it from Jericho. Or no, Claudio grabs it from Jericho. Jericho tries to hit him with it, takes it away from him. There was also a point in this match. Jericho went for the walls of Jericho, got it on him, and Jericho and Claudio would not give up. Same thing goes for Jericho in the sharpshooter. After the spot with the baseball bat, Claudio almost hit Aubrey, and tried to move her out of the way. The referee's his vision is basically distracted. Jericho hits Claudio in the balls, basically, and then hits the Judas effect for the win. I did not like the decision of taking the title off of Claudio. He just won the title not that long ago, back in July. I was not a fan of that decision. I'm hearing the idea of Jericho holding the Ring of Honor Championship. I don't know. It's weird. Jericho though did make history. I mean, it's cool. Jericho made history. Is it cool that Jericho won the Ring of Honor title? Kind of, but maybe 20 years ago, maybe it would have been cool. But I'm assuming Jericho has made history based, if I understand this correctly, Jericho has won championships in ECW, WCW, WWE/WW or WWF/WWE, uh, New Japan Pro Wrestling, AEW, and Ring of Honor. I'm pretty sure no one has ever done that before. The closest person I can ever think of doing that, actually, I don't think there's anybody currently wrestling right now because, let's see. Most of the people who wrestle for for ECW who are working for AEW or anywhere else is outside of RVD is retired, um, or are half retired, and some of them are dead. So, so that's pretty cool. Jericho is the only person in history to win the WCW championship, the WWF championship, and the AEW championship and the Ring of Honor world title. So that's pretty neat, I guess. But again, I don't like the fact that Jericho's the champion. If this is not, if you're gonna, yeah, I don't know. It's just I don't like it. I don't like Jericho. I don't mind Jericho. I just don't like him. He shouldn't be winning titles at the stage of his career. Um, his thing should be putting over the new guys. Jericho, uh, did the right thing. Oh, well, not really. He didn't really do the right thing. I mean, if the plan is to do Jericho and Daniel Garcia title for title uh at a Ring of Honor show or whatever, that's fine, I guess. I don't know. That's just how I feel about it. Uh Chris Jericho is your new Ring of Honor World Champion. Well, it's whatever. After the match, while he's celebrating, Daniel Garcia, and we just talked about Daniel Garcia, the Ring of Honor Pure Champion, came out, didn't look very happy of the way Jericho won the match. So there's a developing story that developing there. So we'll see what happens there. Next up, we get the AEW Tag Team Championship match between the Swerve and Our Glory defending the AEW Tag Titles against the Acclaimed. The Acclaimed are massively over. Keith Lee is massively over. I love the crowd dynamic of Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland. Swerve comes out, booed. He's the heel of the tag team. Keith Lee over as always. Keith Lee is fantastic. The Acclaim comes out. They are mega over. Not to the degree they were. Well, they're still over. But I still think they should have. I would have pulled the trigger at All Out, but we'll get to that in a second. Early on in the match, Anthony Bowens tried a single leg takedown on Keith Lee. Keith Lee blocked it and tossed Bowens aside. Keith Lee looked down at Bowens with a Hurricane Rana, or took down Bowens with a Hurricane Rana. Keith Lee, a man for his size, should not be able to do things like that. Swerve was tagged in and blasted the Acclaim with a drop kick. Swerve is a fantastic talent as well. Caster power slam Swerve. Caster hit a brain buster on Keith Lee, which is impressive as fuck. Again, Keith Lee is not a little guy to be able to hit that move. Keith Lee is not a little guy. Bowens tagged in and cleaned house on Lee and Strickland. Swerve kicked out of Bowens' knee. Bowens buckle bombed Swerve, but Lee was there to hit the headbutt on Bowens. Keith Lee hurled Anthony Bowens over the top rope and onto the ramp because they had the elevated ramp for some of these shows in some of these venues they have the elevated ramp. Reminds me of WCW when they used to do the elevated ramp in the early 90s for some of their shows. I remember Beach Blast 92, one of my favorite pay-per-views from WCW, had the
elevated ramp, and I remember Sting and Cactus Jack having
that fantastic no disqualification match. I think it was a no disqualification match. Oh, it was Falls Count Anywhere. Never mind. Excuse me. It was Falls Count Anywhere, and Sting would backdrop, cactus on the ring on the ramp, and they do the dive and all that stuff. Pretty cool stuff. Anyways, Swerve so Swerve grab the Acclaim's boombox, tried to hit them with it, but inadvertently hit Keith Lee. I thought this was the end of the match. Caster tried to drop the mic drop, but tweaked his knee on the way down. I don't know if he was selling the injury or if he actually was legit injured. Because it was rest of the match fell off to me after that a little bit. Swerve caught Caster in the jaw with a backwards kick. Caster came back with a suplex to the Swerve. Caster climbed up to the top rope. Swerve met him up there. Swerve sent Caster flying while Lee pounced Caster around the mat. Strickland powerbomb Max Caster for a near fall. Very good near fall, at least. Swerve wiped out the Acclaim with a 450 leg drop, which that's a beautiful move. To the outside, Billy Gunn smash. I know they call him Daddy Ass, but Billy Gunn smash Swerve with the Famouser on the outside. Bowens hit the arrival. Then Caster used the mic drop on the Swerve. Caster pinned Swerve, and the Acclaim became the new AEW Tag Team Champions. This was the right decision to do here. The crowd lost their shit when the Acclaim won the titles. They are the hot act right now. This is the one you go with for the tag titles. I said that I was talking to somebody earlier about this, and we were going to have a conversation, not very short one. That maybe it was too predictable to do it. Probably too predictable, and they probably won't do it. Well, here's the problem. Predictable is not always bad. The problem is you cannot wait to and pull the trigger on something like this. Strike while the iron is hot. AEW made that mistake with Jurassic Express in 2019. I still think to this day Jurassic Express should have won. Should have been the inaugural AEW Tag Team Champions because they were the most over tag team in the company at the time, next to the Young Bucks and maybe the Lucha Bros. They were the third most over group in that when the tag team division were just first starting off. And I still would have went with the Jurassic Express. They waited until 2022, 4 years later, 3 or 4 years later to pull the trigger on Jurassic Express to win the tag titles. I did not like that at all. I didn't like that they did that because they were no longer as hot as they were, and when they won the titles, not a lot of people cared about them as the champions. But I'm so glad they are not waiting to pull the trigger on the Acclaim here. I still would have done that at All Out. That's just me. That's just me. But yeah, not a bad match. A little hiccups here and there. The injury to Max Caster somewhat stalled the match. Hopefully it's a kayfabe injury, not a real one, because that would suck so bad. As they finally get to the point that they're finally massively over with the crowd as baby faces, and they win the tag titles, and then one of them goes down with an injury. That would suck so hard. That would suck so hard. So there's that. Tony Schiavone was about to interview Wheeler Yuta when MJF interrupted the two of them. And MJF said, "Cut my music. The devil has arrived. Since you all worship the ground that I walk on, that makes you all my loyal devil worshippers. Wheeler, you seem to be confused." He goes on, "Wheeler, you seem to be confused, but because you've never seen a reaction like this. I'm a god to these people, and I'm a generational talent. Willie Yuta says, Max, you have the more catchphrases than friends. That is true. He does have more catchphrases than friends. You recently got engaged. She's smart, maybe too smart because she maybe already knows what we already know, that you're a piece of crap is basically what he's saying here. And then he mentioned the walkout that happened a few months ago. That she's probably going to walk out on you like you walked out on us. MJF retorts with, your friends in the Blackpool Combat Club aren't fighting for the world title tonight. They're fighting to lose the championship to me. At one point, MJF said something about Regal's past pill addiction, and that's when Wheeler Yuta slapped the everything piss out of MJF, and they went at it. MJF then shoved Tony Schiavone. Wheeler Yuta took MJF down to W. Morrissey, grabbed Wheeler Yuta, beat the shit out of him, and then they started double teaming on Wheeler Yuta. So it looks like, for the time being, while until whenever we get to the match between the winner of the championship match and MJF, we're gonna do Wheeler Yuta versus MJF, which is fine. I don't know why they're still using the dynamite diamond ring, but whatever. Next up, we have the All Atlantic Championship match. We have the All Atlantic champion Pac defending against the Bastard Pac, defending against freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy. Cassidy comes out, threw his sunglasses at Pac, which I thought was hilarious because when he threw them at him, the sunglasses broke. And I tweeted out, Pac broke the sunglasses with his fucking chest. He's a real bastard. Orange went for the orange punch, but Pac quickly rolled out of the ring. Pac nailed Orange Cassidy with the shotgun dropkick. Pac is fantastic at what he does. He's so he's seemingly like flawlessly motion with his moves is just like out of this world. I love Pac. I've been a fan of him since I first saw him in NXT when he was the NXT champion, and that's when I got for my first exposure to the Adrian Neville at the time. And I thought this dude was amazing. I actually thought this dude was gonna be a mega star for WWE. Obviously not, because they didn't value his talent because they wanted him to be jobbed out to Enzo fucking Amore. That's neither here or there. So Pac whipped Cassidy into the steel into the steel ring post. Cassidy's skull collided with the steel. Pac then flipped over the top rope and crashed into Cassidy. Pac blasted Orange with the shotgun drop kick off the top rope, which looks beautiful. I love his shotgun drop kicks. Reminds me of a little bit of Okada's drop kicks and maybe a little bit of Danielson's and somewhat of Sting's dropkick. A little bit. Sting doesn't do drop kicks anymore. At least I don't think so. Not that I recall him doing certain drop kicks in the AEW, but we'll find. But we'll find out. So, Pac then pump kicked Orange Cassidy in the corner. Pac then climbed up to the top rope, but Orange Cassidy rolled out of the way. Pac then nailed Orange with a German suplex. I love his German suplexes, man. He has some velocity on those Germans. Cassidy came from nowhere with the stun dog millionaire. For some reason, I thought it was a slum dog millionaire. Every time I hear Excalibur say that phrase, the name of the finisher, I thought it was Slumdog Millionaire. That's because that's what I don't know. Anyway, he followed up with the top rope tope suicida to Pac, driving him to the barricade. Then Orange Cassidy followed up with the diving DDT, which looks the selling every time Pac sells that DDT. Pac sells the DDT like his life depends on it. That's another thing I love about the Bastard Pac. Pac grabbed Orange Cassidy and put him in the brutalizer, but Orange transitioned into a pin to attempt to steal a pinfall. Orange Cassidy hit the orange punch, and Pac recovered, but grabbed the bottom rope to stop the referee's count. Fans were chanting, "This is awesome! This is awesome!" Because I mean, I'll talk about that in a second. On the outside, so referee the referee didn't see this. Well, he couldn't see it. He didn't think anything much of it. Pac popped Orange Cassidy with the ring bell hammer. The referee didn't see this, and after the strike, Pac pinned Cassidy for the win. And still your AEW All Atlantic Champion, the Bastard Pac. One of my things about Orange Cassidy that I love, because at first I didn't get his matches. I like Orange Cassidy as a character. I thought his character was pretty entertaining. I didn't know much about him as a wrestler, but when I saw him face Pac at Revolution 2020, that opened up a lot of eyes to Orange Cassidy as a professional wrestler and not just a character. And that was one of my favorite matches of that show. And I thought it was fantastic. And Orange Cassidy is a fantastic pro wrestler. And also another thing, people shit on Orange Cassidy when they announced that it was going to be a Will Ospreay and Orange Cassidy at Forbidden Door. And Orange Cassidy proved everyone wrong, and everybody shut up about it because Orange Cassidy and Will Ospreay had the match of the night. so there was that. Then we also had a moment backstage. We had a couple of backstage segments. FTR was congratulated the Acclaimed, but they are about to, I guess, challenge the Acclaimed for a title match, 2.0, or is it the Gun Club? It's either 2.0 or the Gun Club. I wasn't really paying attention to that point, but one of those two teams came up and I think it was the Gun Club. Came up and tried to start something. There's that. We also had a video package on Dynamite for a Rampage that's going to set up the tag match, the no disqualification tag match between the House of Blacks, Buddy Matthews and Brody King versus Sting and Darby Allin. And I believe there was another video package on something else, but I'm not sure what it was. Next up, we have the AEW Women's Championship match. I'm not using interim. I'm sorry. I'm going to talk about Toni Storm in a little bit, and because it goes inside of what happened during this match, or after the aftermatch. That is, with Toni Storm defending against Serena Deeb, Athena, Britt Baker, and Britt Baker. So Britt Baker comes out, a mild reaction from the fans. What a year a difference makes. Last year, Grand Slam in the main event, she got mega cheered. I got a huge reaction coming out last year. 1 year later, not a lot of people give a crap about Britt Baker. She's getting the Charlotte push, and that's why people are starting to turn away. I don't care how great people think she is in the ring. It's not about that. Her booking of the way Tony Khan's booking her, it's Charlotte-esque, and that's why people don't like Britt Baker. Anyway, that's neither here or there. So Toni Storm hit the black slide on Athena for a near fall. Baker used the crucifix on Deeb, but Deeb escaped. Tony who used the drop kick on Tony used a drop kick on Britt Baker. Tony climbed to the top rope on top turnbuckle. Britt and Deeb met Tony up there for the double suplex, but Athena powerbombed Britt and Deeb, which also sent Storm crashing into the mat, which is incredible strength there by feat of strength there by Athena. Serena Deeb chopped Toni Storm until Storm suplexed Deeb. But another one of those suplexes. People with great suplexes. Toni Storm. When I think of suplex, like either they're like mainly like German suplexes, I think of like Toni Storm and Io Shirai and Utami Hayashishita and Mayu Iwatani and Pac and And Benoit hit some great German suplexes. Kurt Angle hit some great German suplexes. I believe Jerry Lynn was very good at hitting Germans. Brock Lesnar does some really great Germans. So like, I love a great suplex. I just love those. Then Britt Baker snapped Storm with a swinging neck breaker, which is a move I believe I like to call the twisted. What is it called? Anyways, Nikki Cross called it something, and I cannot. But the purge, that's what she called it. I cannot remember what she called it. Serena Deeb hit the net breaker on her own on Storm for a near fall. Storm DDT'd Athena. Then Tony Storm cradled Britt Baker and pinned her. There was also a spot in this match where pinned her to retain the championship. There was also a spot in this match. I can't really explain it. It was Athena hit something, reversed into something that got reversed into something else. They got reversed into something else into some type of code breaker. I don't know how to explain it, but it was pretty freaking cool. Anyway, after the match, Britt Baker is beating the hell out of Toni Storm because she's a sore loser. Jamie Hayter comes out. The crowd loses their shit because people love Jamie Hayter. Jamie Hayter was one of the most over women. Was probably the more over woman in that 4-way match at All Out. And what I don't understand, unless they're still building towards it, like waiting for whatever time they want to do this. We think that she's coming out to help Tony, but no, she starts beating the hell out of Toni Storm. Serena Deeb also gets involved, and Serena Deeb, Rebel, Jamie Hayter, and Britt Baker start beating up the baby faces. Then we hear this. Then we start hearing "Zombified," which is by the band Falling in Reverse, and I'll tell you why that's important in a second. We don't know what's going on here. Next thing we see is Saraya come out through the crowd. Huge pop. Saraya, the formerly known as Paige in the WWE, comes out. Huge pop. People are losing their mind. And she gets in the ring. She basically looks at Britt and the others and the heel, saying, "This is my house now." And everyone's confused on the ring side. The baby face is a little confused. The heels are floored. Paige, Saraya in AEW. This is a massive, massive, massive gift for the AEW Women's Division. Something they really absolutely needed. They needed some type of injection into the division. I listen. I love Athena. She is not that injection that they needed. Toni Storm can be that injection. She's one of those type of talents that can be the top baby face, and your face of the division. But even by her words that she spoke earlier today, I believe it was earlier today, promoting this show. Basically saying that, yeah, I know basically we know our division is not that great. But we're working on it. She didn't sugarcoat it. She didn't be like, our AEW Women's Division is fantastic. It's the best division we got. We like to use them all the time. They didn't do that. She didn't do that because she's not going to sugarcoat it, and that's how Toni Storm has always been. Even in WWE, she didn't like to sugarcoat things. She didn't sugarcoat in Stardom. She didn't sugarcoat in WWE, XPW, not XPW, WXW, and Progress. Wherever she went, she didn't sugarcoat anything. And I'm glad that she didn't sugarcoat there. And here's the thing about Saraya, former Paige. Fightful Select put out a reported earlier today about the former Paige. The AEW reached out to Paige earlier this summer about trying to bring her in. They had talks. Nothing came of them. Nobody knows if they signed a contract or anything like that. No one knew that she was going to be there because no one saw it coming. It was a complete surprise, and it does look like, based on what I've saw on things, it looks like she is going to be a wrestler. Which, if she is, good for her. Hopefully, I just hope she's safe in that regards, and she feels up to doing it. Because I don't want her to be I don't want her to force herself to do something, and then end up regretting it later. So, but yeah, Saraya is a great injection to the women's division, much needed. Let's see. I don't know where they're gonna go from here with her, but who knows? We'll see. We'll see where it goes there with Saraya in the coming weeks in All Elite Wrestling. Then we get our main event. Well, first we also got Wednesday, or not Wednesday. It's Friday. Rampage, of course. Rampage is gonna have. We got Action Bronson and FTW champion Hook taking on Matt Menard and Angelo Parker of the Jericho Appreciation Society. Darby Allin and Sting versus House of Black's Buddy Matthews and Brody King in a no disqualification, no DQ tag match. Eddie Kingston versus Sammy Guevara. The Golden Ticket Battle Royal. The winner of that match will face the AEW champion on October I believe it's October. What day was it? What day was that supposed to be? October the 18th on a Tuesday. That was announced before the Rampage tapings. I'm not going to spoil any of the Rampage tapings. There were a very one I got my 90s inner child got excited for. Jay Cargill defends the TBS Championship against Diamante. Ray Phoenix versus Jungle Boy, which I heard great things about that match. Powerhouse Hobbs versus Ricky Starks lights out match with the unsanctioned match, which I'm assuming is the main event, and Wardlow and TNT champ, Wardlow and Ring of Honor TV champion Samoa Joe versus Tony Nese and Josh Woods. So that is Rampage. I will talk about what I might actually be doing for that show after I talk about the main event of Dynamite, because the main event of Dynamite is the Grand Slam Tournament Finals to crown a new AEW champion. Jon Moxley versus Brian Danielson. This match was incredible. I didn't care who won this match because I was just excited for it. So MJF's watching in a skybox. Excuse me. MJF is watching the skybox for this casino ship, so he did not cash in. That was one of the not rumored. That was a speculation. By predictions and stuff, all that stuff that didn't happen. So it was a straight up victory, clean win for the winner here. We're gonna get to the winner here. Brian and Moxley were beaten ever, living piss out of each other. Near fall after near fall. Mox kicked out of the by Bosaiku knee kick. Got out of the Brian tried to hit Moxley hit the Death Rider on the ramp and on the ring apron. At one point, Brian had a German suplex on Moxley on the ring apron. Moxley put on the label lock, tried to at least. Brian tried to. I believe Brian even attempted to put the bulldog choke on Moxley. Both attempts failed. Moxley. This match is really hard to go through because and explain it and review this match because this match is incredible. I will save you the trouble. if there was one match from this show, I would encourage you guys to watch this main event. The ending of the match here, Moxley went for the Bulldog choke, but Danielson kept getting out of it, and Danielson rolled out to the ring apron. Was going to hit. I was assuming he was going to hit a Basaiku knee on either a Basaiku knee or a German suplex on Moxley. Moxley countered into the paradigm shift / Death Rider, and then went into the ring to get a pinfall. Still kicked out by Brian. Brian then got locked into the chokehold again. This time, wouldn't let go. Moxley has it cinched in tight, and Danielson passes out. Moxley is your first time ever 3-time AEW World Heavyweight Champion. While MJF looks on, Regal comes out. Regal comes down to the ring, and little thing happened. This I didn't get to see this because they didn't air this part on television. Brian put the title around the waist of Moxley. They embraced, and that's how Dynamite went off the air. Overall, night one of almost a Rampage. Night one of Grand Slam was pretty fun. Fantastic match between Moxley and Brian, as they would normally do. Pretty decent women's title match. Right person won, retained. Because I thought it would have been stupid if Britt Baker won the title 3 weeks after they put the title on Toni Storm. Because the whole thing with Britt and Jamie does not need the title at the moment. The debut of Saraya was shocking. Didn't see that coming. I always I assumed that she was just going to go back to WWE with Triple H in charge. That clearly isn't happening. So there's that. Saraya is, like I said, a great addition to the women's division. She's gonna hopefully elevate that division a little bit more. She's not gonna take no shit. She will speak her mind. And when she speaks for her mind, it's not going to be because of jealousy or anything. She's going to do it because she wants the division to get better. The reason why she spoke up and spoke out and spoke up in WWE and whatnot, she wanted to see the women's division get better, and it's getting there. Triple H is an advocate of the women's division of women's wrestling, you see that the amount of time that the whole damage control stuff is getting. And in NXT, the most dominant champions in NXT, the most dominant champions you saw under Triple H when Triple H was running NXT, Shayna Baszler, Io Shirai, Sasha Banks, Asuka, when they were champions. Kairi Sane didn't get the whole championship for very long, but she was one of the best baby faces in that Raw on the women's division. She was a great foe for Shayna Baszler. So and what Saraya wanted in WWE. She sort of didn't get much of that on the main roster. Her run on the main roster sadly was not that memorable, unfortunately. I mean, she won the championship on her first night on the main roster by beating AJ Lee. Cool. But what else happened? She didn't do very much. She had a team with Becky and Charlotte. They broke that up for whatever reason. Then Paige went away for a little bit. Paige came back. Then it got injured again. Then had to retire. She was a great GM for SmackDown. That was one of the highlights of her main roster run that I actually did enjoy, was her run as SmackDown general manager, which I believe she came in to replace Bryan Danielson, who had just returned from in-ring competition, mainly because they didn't want him going to perform at All In that year. That's what Moxley wanted to do. He was trying to get himself fired. Not Moxley. Brian was trying to get himself fired. He wanted to wrestle at the All In show, and you can see it on his face. But yeah, she's gonna be a great part of that division. And I would not have Tony Khan be booking the women's division anymore. I would, whether he likes it or not, he needs to get out of that chair and bring in somebody like Maria, and have Terry and Bob Cruz and fucking and have Saraya help out a little bit. Um, and if you want to do that, and you brought in fucking Madison Rain, and she's done jack shit since getting there. They brought her in as a coach, and they have to show me anything that she's done as of late. Why bother hiring her? Anyways, that's either here or there. New AEW Tag Team Champions, like I said, the Acclaimed, right time to do that. They didn't. Thankfully, you're not going to wait for years to put the titles on them when no one's going to care about them anymore. And that's just how fans are. They if after a certain period of time, people are gonna not care anymore. Like, it's amazing. I hit my microphone. It's amazing that people like Bryan Danielson, Jon Moxley, to a degree CM Punk, Kenny Omega. Who else am I thinking about here? Hangman Page and Chris Jericho to a degree, like, can somehow, and Eddie Kingston, and to some degree can still somehow remain to get over. Like with Hangman Page, people thought like when he lost to Brian Cage on that random ass episode of Dynamite, when Hangman was on a momentum, rising up the momentum, to when we originally thought he was going to actually face Omega for the title, which because it was originally supposed to be Omega and Paige at All Out that last year, but Paige went away because his wife was having a child, so it ended up being Paige and not Paige, Omega and Christian. But when they did that whole thing, that loss of Paige, Hangman Page, people all thought like, oh, the people are not going to care about him when he comes back, or when he gets that when the crowd comes back. And what happens to he was the first guy out, massive pop. Same thing happened when he went away for a couple months because of the because of his wife's having him having a kid, and he came out as the Joker for that episode of Dynamite, and still is one of the most over wrestlers on the roster. And so there's that. Like, there are like exceptions on the AEW roster. Like I said, Bryan Danielson, Jon Moxley, Eddie Kingston, to a degree, CM Punk, to a degree, Kenny Omega. Omega, kind of. He was gone for months with that injury. He came back. People loved it. Like I said, Eddie Kingston, Chris Jericho. Why am I so tired? Jericho to a degree. But like I said, but my main point is here, when something is when the iron is white hot on something and you wait a while, it's not, and you don't wait a while. Like, my main point is, while the iron is hot on something, you go for it. Not all the time. That was proven with Bray Wyatt as the Fiend. Like I wouldn't have I would not have had put him in the title picture immediately. That was their mistake. Because from April to October, the whatever day it was, from April to October, from April to the night that they did the Hell in a Cell match with Seth Rollins, that whole thing, that whole build up to the Fiend character was phenomenal television. And they screwed it over by putting by doing a title match that they didn't want to put the Fiend in, and they didn't want Seth Rollins to lose, and they didn't want the Bray Wyatt to look weak. And then what they did a fuck finish in the Hell in a Cell match, a DQ in the Hell in a Cell. Anyways, I don't want to get into that because that set me off that night. And I don't care for Jericho as the Ring of Honor champion. It does nothing for me. If it might do some more, it might do things for other people that like it. I don't. Uh, if this is for Garcia, whatever. Um, I feel like they could have done a lot of better things than putting the title on Jericho to do that. That's just me. Uh, Orange Cassidy and Pac still have great chemistry. Pac is fantastic. Tony Storm is fantastic. I'm glad that she's still the champion. I don't know what I would do next. What I would do next, actually, is when Hikaru Shida comes back. One of the matches I would actually book eventually, because I assumed, like a lot of people assume, a great mini feud for Tony Storm in the meantime, or like a Dynamite or Rampage or whatever, is Shida and Tony for the title. Do that. But I don't know what's next for Tony Storm, because I'm assuming when Thunder Rosa comes back, they're going to do that. So who knows when that's going to happen. But speaking of AEW Rampage, originally I wasn't, like, I know I've said before I was not going to do reviews for Rampage. I will make it an exception for Friday because there's a lot of things that I saw on the spoilers that I will want to talk about, especially during the tag match between the House of Black and Sting and Darby Allin. That is going to be good. That's going to be a great thing to see. But that was AEW Dynamite, not Rampage, AEW Dynamite Grand Slam. Like I said, show was pretty fun. Nothing too exciting happened outside of Saraya's debut, an incredible main event, the Acclaim winning the tag titles. Next week on Dynamite, I think they announced what's next week for Dynamite, but I'm not 100% sure what was actually announced for Dynamite next week. I will have to look that up later. Not later. I will. But if you liked what you saw here today, like I said, please subscribe, hit the like button, comment down below. Remember that poll that's still going on for the retro pay-per-views is still up. It's 4 retro pay-per-views. I forgot to mention that on Monday. It's 2 SummerSlam Survivor Series, Survivor Series 2002 and Survivor Series 2001. It's World War III 1996 and November to Remember 1999. I'm going to be doing in place of WWE Crown Jewel. I'm going to be reviewing one of those 4 classic pay-per-views from the month of November. And will I do some more of those? Possibly. Right now it's a tie. Let me see if I can find what the current poll on that is. Still a tie. And I may have to do a randomizer for that. Let's look at the current poll for if they've enjoyed Dynamite or not. It's still the same. 75% yes, 25% no. But yeah. I haven't been Matt the Misfit. Thank you for listening to the podcast. Join me for Friday night SmackDown and Rampage, one time only edition of Rampage on the show on the Misfit Wrestling Podcast. And I will see you guys Friday. Peace out.